Greetings, everyone. This is PW Twister, back once again with my TNA Impact Wrestling review. I apologize for not having it up any sooner. It's very hard for me to get it up on Fridays because generally I get home at like 11 or 12, and then I have school for 12 hours the next day, and I get home and I'm very tired. Probably I'll have them up on Saturdays, along with the SmackDown review and any pay-per-view stuff that comes up. So, TNA Impact Wrestling from Thursday. I'm not going to go to the date until I put it in here for the video up top, but this episode, I'm not really sure how to feel about it, but I'm just going to go through the notes I made here. Starts out with Bobby Roode coming out to give a promo. First off, I hate the piped boos. I see no point in showing a reaction that isn't there. Instead, try to get your wrestlers to actually get real heat and get real passion from the fans instead of just piping it in, because it looks so fake and it looks so cheap and people aren't going to want to watch that. So Bobby Roode comes out, cuts a good promo. Quite frankly, I think that the "it pays to be rude" catchphrase needs to be brought back because it would fit the character he's in right now. But that's just me. James Storm comes out, cuts a great promo. Fighting ensues. Stuff happens. And one thing I like that they're hinting at throughout the show here is that they're trying to figure out who Storm's attacker is. I like that. It's a good idea. It builds more intrigue and it makes people want to watch next week whenever they reveal who the attacker is. So, what was next? Oh yeah, one thing you notice, because I think they're back in the Impact Zone for this one, the crowd doesn't give a shit. They could not give two fucks about this show because they're tourists. They're not real fans. So of course they're not going to care. That's why they need to get on the road and perform to real wrestling fans. Because otherwise they're not going to get an audience that cares. And if people at home notice, like I do, that the audience doesn't care, they're going to be like, why should I care about this? Because people are obviously bored. Moving on. Robbie E versus Devon is the first match of the night. I like the whole Robbie E and Robbie T thing with the velvet rope. That's great. It's fantastic, and it gets over. One thing I'm confused about, and by the way, the match was good. It's about as good as it can be with Devon in it, because he's not exactly the greatest wrestler in the world. But one thing you notice is why... First off, why are Devon's kids at every single Impact taping? I would not want to bring my kids to Impact and let them get involved. Second of all, why, when those two jump over the barricade, are they not restrained by security like any other rabid fan would? I mean, for the fans at home, it's different if a wrestler jumps in as opposed to two guys who they've never seen before jump in. It just works differently that way. And why are they always trying to protect the Pope? I mean, I've watched TNA for years now, and I've rarely missed an episode. And I don't understand this whole Pope Devon thing. What are they trying to prove with it? If they're not going to go anywhere with it, and they're not going to put it on TV or anything, why the hell are you even wasting your time with it? What's the point? I mean, dear God, you're wasting TV time on Devon and the Pope, and you could be putting TV time into people who actually matter. Speaking of somebody who doesn't matter, next thing was a promo backstage with Sting and Garrett Bischoff. Why the fuck do we care about Garrett Bischoff? He is not a real wrestler. He was a referee. And if you're going to try to put a referee in the ring, at least put him on some dark matches so they can get some experience. There are more deserving people out there who deserve the TV time over Garrett Bischoff. We all know why he's on TV right now. I don't need to explain this to you. Hopefully you're smart enough to realize it. So after that's over, Crimson and Matt Morgan are seen together just like sticking their chests out at each other, sort of just like ego-wise, just trying to bump chests and whatnot, say who's the bigger, better guy. One thing I've sort of noticed they've developed is this relationship like Ash and Gary. They don't like each other, but they respect each other, and they're like fun rivals who just wrestle just so they can see who's better. And it's almost a real childish type of thing, but it's really funny to watch. And so Sting puts them in a tag team title match against Mexican America, which I can understand, because Motor City Machine Guns aren't there, because Chris Sabin is still injured. They've beaten Ink Inc. about 100 times. They haven't put the British Invasion in, which I thought, if you're going to put another tag team up against Mexican America, put the Brits in there, because they'll get over. They're very over with the fans. But no, you put together the makeshift tag team, which, if you're idiots like Vince Russo and Bruce Pritchard and whatnot, I can understand. But if British Invasion was not an option for them, seriously, I could understand them doing this, because neither of these two guys are going to be in the title hunt very soon, and they can't just keep wrestling matches because there's only so much that the two of them could do together. So I can understand them making a makeshift tag team. You know, you got Crimson in the black and Matt Morgan in the white, yin and yang sort of type of thing I got from it. We'll get to that match later. So next thing you know, as my notes go, Sting talks to Flair and Bischoff after the commercial break. And Sting says he's going to put Garrett in a match with Gunner. Sting's going to be in his corner, and Flair and Bischoff can be in Gunner's corner. And then I asked myself a question as I am watching this. I'm thinking to myself, are they really going to put Gunner in a match with Garrett Bischoff when Gunner is a former referee, or not a former referee, a former Army member and a real athlete who looks like he could crush Garrett Bischoff in 2 seconds? My question I asked myself was, are they really going to have Garrett Bischoff beat Gunner? I didn't answer that question to myself because I didn't think they would actually have the balls to do that. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So next is Kid Cash and Austin Aries versus Jesse Sorensen and Brian Kendrick. The only 4 guys that really seem to be in the X division at the moment, which is sort of sad considering they have Zema Ion, they have Low Key, which they could have had Low Key, they could have had Jack Evans, but for some reason those 2 aren't good enough. And so they put these 4 in there. Jesse Sorensen, they've done a terrible job introducing him. Nobody knows what his gimmick is. I don't think I've ever even heard him talk, let alone introduce himself. So they need to work on that with him. When Aries came out, the first thought I had in my head was, he looks like a Baron. They need to give him the nickname the Baron and let him keep the cape or something. He looks like this real devious, corny Baron guy, like from the movies, who used to toss out the little grenades out of the plane. He looks like that guy. Austin Aries in the ring is a great heel. He knows what he's doing. Very good. The match was good. Not great, but good. So there were a few botches. There were a few botches in there, and it didn't look good. But overall, the match was good. And they need to actually give Sorensen a real finishing maneuver, not that one that he used. It looked bad. That's all my thoughts for that match. Next is the 10 knockout gauntlet match. Oh, good God. The wrestling didn't start until Mickie James walked in. Velvet, Angelina, Brooke Tessmacher, and whoever else was in there first. They all sucked. None of them should even be wrestling in the company. They're terrible. They're only there for their tits and their ass, and for no other reason. So the wrestling started when Mickie came in. It was excellent, but I don't like the fact that they had her go over her opponents every 30 seconds. They could have at least extended the match 10 minutes and given her some real time to defeat these women. But whatever, because it's TNA, they don't know what they're doing. And you can say what you want about TNA, but they give women's wrestling a chance, and they give more than 30 seconds to a match. I give them that. And again, noting the crowd doesn't care about this match at all because it's a tourist crowd. They don't care. In the match, ODB looked great. And I don't just mean in the ring. She's always great in the ring, but she looked like she lost 20 pounds. She looks amazing. I I hate Taz's announcing in this match because he's a pervert, and he in this match he acts like a pervert, and he doesn't care that these are real women athletes. You need to make these women seem like they're legitimate athletes. That's what will separate them from the divas. And they're not willing to do that. Instead, they put a pervert like Taz in there who makes all these women look like over-sexualized pieces of shit. I hate it. Going back to the match, though, I loved the finish. It was great, where she was all beat up in through all these women, and then Madison comes out all, confident, and next thing you know, she rolls up for the win, and it was hilarious. I will say, I liked it. Then we go to the Karen Jarrett, Jeff Hardy promo. I don't see it as any necessary thing. I don't know why these two are in a feud. Why can't they just kick both of them out of the company? Is beyond me, because neither of them really deserve to be in it, in my opinion. And I wouldn't have them in my company if I was running TNA. Next was Matt Morgan versus Crimson. Good match, about as best as you can do with those guys in there. But why couldn't they have waited until the next pay-per-view to do this? Did they really need to put this out there today? Like, they couldn't have given Morgan and Crimson a history of a tag team and at least made them look credible before you put them over your champions? And I have another question. Why don't they just abandon the pay-per-view model altogether if they're going to put title matches on TV? Because they obviously don't make any money from TV, and they obviously don't make any money from pay-per-view, and they obviously don't care about pay-per-view. So why bother having them at all? Just put your stuff on TV and try to get high ratings. Oh, what's my time? Oh, good, I got 3 minutes. I can get that in. Gunner versus Garrett. Oh, dear God. How in the hell would Gunner in real life not destroy Garrett Bischoff in every single way? He should crush him in real life, if this were real life. And I cannot believe when I saw this that Gunner, this army guy, this badass athlete, he lost to a DDT from a referee after Garrett did nothing to him in the match. Fucking DDT. Fuck you, TNA. Gunner should be one of your top heels. But instead, what do you do instead? You put him over Garrett Bischoff with a fucking DDT. That shouldn't happen. It should not happen. God, I hate this company sometimes for shit like this. Final segment was good, but it was like, end the show with a match for once. Because these final segments at the end of every show are just getting monotonous and boring. Of course, it's TNA, and WWE would do the same. They did do the same at the end of Raw, so... State of wrestling is shit. With the exception of Ring of Honor, which I am going to start doing reviews every Monday for Ring of Honor, because I am subscribed to their website and I can watch their shows. So I'm going to be doing Raw, SmackDown, Impact Wrestling, and Ring of Honor television every week, among my other topical videos I'm going to be putting out later. So that's it for this one. Just like terrible episode of Impact, just because they don't know how to book a show properly. So, what can you do? Until next time, have a nice day.